I love cherry pie, and I always thought it was super complicated to make a cherry pie, but I've discovered a no pie pan recipe. That's it. All you need is a baking sheet. So if you'd like to see my easy pie that you'll be eating in just over an hour, come with me and let's see. Hi, I'm Sue, and this is Sue Maree P. I'm a self-taught baker, and I love sharing my simple ideas with you. And if you'd like to see my full recipes, jump over to SueMareeP.com, which is my website, and you've got all the recipes there. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm there at Sue Maree P. So, cherry pie without a pan. Yeah, it's a free-form rustic pie, which they call a galette. Don't mistake that for the buckwheat crepe from Brittany that's filled with fancy fillings, but this is a free-form pie that you can do either sweet or savoury. I love it, because you don't have to be fancy and you can have a cherry pie in just over an hour. So let's get mixing. So the first step to making our pie, we need to do the dough. So I've just taken my chilled butter. I use unsalted butter and I've pre-cubed it. That's one whole pack, 250 grams. And we're going to mix that until it's fine breadcrumbs with my flour. So I like using spelt flour, but it works fabulous also with plain flour. So we're going to mix this in my stand mixer with the paddle attachment. But if you don't have a KitchenAid or a stand mixer, just do it with an electric hand beater, or you can do it by hand. We want to mix this till it reaches like a breadcrumb consistency for about 5 minutes. So our flour and butter is all mixed to look like breadcrumbs. So I've got 150 mils of chilled water. That's about 1/4 of a pint. So we're just going to add that gradually into our dough, and we need to form our dough ball. So I'm going to swap over from the flat paddle and put my dough hook on. I love that this dough is so biscuity and crumbly and soft. It just melts in your mouth. I've made it both with like regular flour and spelt flour, and spelt's my favorite. It's almost coming together. Just pumped it up a little bit. You know it's done when you've got a clean bowl. The dough forms its own ball. We're almost there. You may not need all the water, just depends. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. So while that's mixing, the next thing you want to do is get some plastic wrap out. I've already prepared 2 sheets because we need to divide the dough ball into 2 halves, and then we need to rest that in the fridge for about 45 minutes. See, the bowl's looking really clean. So the next step is we need to get the dough out of the bowl. And I'm going to use my scales just to divide the dough into the 2 balls. If you've got a little bit over or a bit under, that's fine. And I've just got a plate dusted with flour. So we're going to divide our 700 grams into 2. So we're going to end up with 350. There you go, we've got 2 pies at 350. Sometimes if you swap the flours around, you end up with a slightly different weight. So we're just going to flatten that until it's like a flat disc shape, ready to roll out. Doesn't need to be too perfect, so I'm just leaving it like that. Got my plastic wrap, I'm just popping it into the plastic. And then once it's in the plastic, I then kind of flatten it and form it a bit into the disc, like so. We will chill this for 45 minutes. I'll just make 1 pie today, but the dough lasts for 5 days in the refrigerator. So if you want to make a savoury pie, which I'm going to bring out a video shortly on how to make a savoury pie. Anyway, we'll pop these in and let's start on the filling. So the next step is we're going to make our cherry pie filling. I'm using frozen cherries that I've defrosted overnight. I like the convenience of the frozen cherries because they're all ready to go. They've been pitted, but if you're in a place where you've got loads of fresh cherries, feel free to use fresh cherries. 400 grams defrosted, and I've just drained off the liquid. So I'm going to use the liquid that I've drained off, which is 50 mils. I'm going to pop it into a small saucepan. So we're going to heat this up with 30 grams of sugar, 2.5 tablespoons of sugar. So what we're trying to do is make a thick sauce to pop the cherries in so it's not too runny. So then I'm going to add in a zest of half of a lemon, which is roughly about 1 teaspoon. And then I've got a tablespoonful of corn flour or cornstarch, and we're just popping that into the liquid. And I'm going to whisk that to ensure there's no lumps. And if you're new today, consider subscribing and don't forget to hit the bell, and then you get notified when I've got a new video. Okay, no lumps, so that's good. So now we just need to let that simmer until it thickens. What I should have said was make sure you continue to stir it so you don't get lumps in it. I'm just going to let that cool down for a few minutes before we add it into our cherries. So now I've just popped my cherries into a bowl, and we're going to scoop out this thick sauce that I've made. I'm just going to stir that over the cherries until it's coated. And then that's our filling ready for our pie crust. So we're just going to set that aside, ready for our pie crust. So we have our dough out of the fridge, and it's time to get rolling. So I'm gonna I've got 2 sheets of baking paper here, and I'm just gonna roll the dough between the baking paper. So I'm removing the plastic. We wanna have it so it's roughly that size. My dinner plates aren't round, so I'm placing the baking sheet on top, and I'm gonna roll it with my rolling pin. You don't want the pie to be too thin on the bottom. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good size. Let's go with that. So I've grabbed my cherry filling from before. So I'm just gonna spoon this in the center, and we need to leave a border around the edge so we can roll it over. So I'm going to be generous and pop in all the cherries because I love lots of cherries. And you could also swap it out for any other kind of fruit. It'd be great with peaches or apples. My exploding cherry pie. Okay, before we flip it over, I'm just going to bread out some of my cherries using a sheet pan. So just grab the sides of your pastry and just fold it on top of the cherries, and you crease over the sides. If you wanted a flatter pie, don't use all the cherries like I've done. But hey ho, I like cherries. Grab a little bit of sugar. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of sugar around the edges. So we're just going to pop the pie in the oven. I've had my oven on 180 degrees, and we're going to bake it for 20 to 30 minutes until it's golden brown. So here you have it, my easy cherry pie. Smells delicious, looks great, and I hope you've enjoyed watching how to make an easy cherry pie or a galette, and you've learned something new today. Anyway, thanks for watching, and let me know if you have tried this recipe and how it goes for you. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you for watching. If you've liked my video today, share it with a friend, hit the like button, the thumbs up, write a comment below, and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And don't forget, hit the bell, and then you get notified as soon as I have a new video. I'll see you next time. Bye.